And
All
they're on.
righty. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be. Welcome to First World Third Rails. Your host, Marlon, aka Mayhem, aka Mr. Disruptive.
Disruptive,
I got
yes.
some other AKAs, but I'll leave those off in honor of my partner and sidekick, JD.
AKA.
JD. Top of the morning, my friend.
Top of the world.
How was your Memorial Day weekend?
Fantastic. Absolutely fantastic.
Awesome. Awesome. Glad to hear that.
We went to the local, they have it's
Cool.
called Viva Vienna, and they have all the vendors and stuff. That was fun.
At the
It's
local
just a
pool?
great weekend. Spent a lot of it with the family. Went to happy hour last night with the gang.
Very nice.
It was great.
You remember you saying you guys were going to hit the pool, so you did hit the pool. No, negative.
No, it's been in the 50s overnight, which makes the water.
Hey.
Yeah.
So at this pool, this would determine whether or not I would go. Water condition, water temperature plays a role, especially at my age. But
well, we're just coming. I mean, it just started. Pool season just started.
Would this neighborhood pool allow me to come in with Vienna in chili dogs? Because if the answer to that is no, I'm not coming.
Well, they actually have chili dogs there.
No. Vienna in chili dogs. There's a difference.
I'm going to say yes. Although I've never experimented, but I don't think there's any. I mean, I think you can bring in whatever you want.
There's a big difference between a chili dog and a Vienna in chili dog. I haven't been home in almost 7 years. Well, it has been 7 years now, and I still know the difference in that.
Yeah, they have chili dogs and onion rings and stuff.
Awesome.
In a little shack right there on the terrace.
Awesome. Well, we had equally a very well. I told this to somebody yesterday, and it never fails, man. You would think, given my age, given my experiences, I would learn my lesson. But sometimes, what are you going to do?
If you learn your lesson, then you'll have to withdraw.
Yes. I did get the furniture.
Give up.
I did get the furniture put together, so all of those joining.
Oh, I saw that picture. That looked great. That looked pretty swanky, actually.
Very comfortable, lovely time, music and food, and just everything going right. Here's the problem, though, and I knew this going. I knew this going in, and this is where I don't learn from past mistakes. We are good when we shut the bar off at 2 bottles of wine. That third bottle is always no bueno.
The soundtrack. Actually, we took a couple of cars last night and had a lovely time, and so I ended up driving all of us home.
Good man, designated driver.
Designated driver.
Well, we didn't have to worry about driving, but it's always that third bottle, man. And I knew it. I'm like, okay, this is a mistake, but we're going to open it anyway. And it was as quiet Sunday as it's ever been in this house. In fact, I said that to my better half. I'm like, okay, they probably thought, hey, man, the Taylors, they're cooking, they're grilling. He's got the game outside. Then later at night, he's got music. They got citronella candles going. They're just living it up. Sunday, nothing.
Nothing.
You can hear a pin drop around here. But we rounded off. Good weekend, good time, and now we're back into the grind, as you know. I have to start here. I don't know if this is a third rail or not, but I'm going to start here.
All right.
You know from history, one of my nemesis on Twitter specifically has been Kayleigh McEnany, whatever her name is, former press
Haley
secretary.
McEnany? Oh, this is a new one.
Yes. But you know, she and I have had run-ins in the past. We've
Yes.
had direct exchanges in the past. And while I am very respectful of women in general, I don't care what your gender is, when you have a platform and you outright lie, you're going to draw the ire of Marlon. And that's our history in a nutshell. I'm bringing her up today because the orange mango has thrown her under the bus.
Oh, he did. He actually threw Kaylee McEnany under the bus.
And as I just told Tara Dublin on Twitter, when she was press secretary, she told and helped spread outright lies. So I have zero sympathy for her.
Well, what did he do? How did he throw her under the bus?
He released a statement on her because she reported poll numbers between he and DeSantis on Fox.
Uh-huh.
He didn't agree with them or like them and has completely trashed her.
Uh-huh.
When you lay down in bed with the devil, this is what you get. So you might want to knock next door if you're looking for sympathy, because there ain't none here from Mr. Disruptive. Not happening.
So what did the poll tell us? Did it tell us DeSantis was
I don't pay attention
headway?
to polls. Polls are meaningless to me.
I heard Chris Christie wants to enter now.
Dumb and Dumber
Gosh,
is how I refer to.
talk about
Somebody
Elizabeth.
asked a question about, could he challenge the Orange Menace? And I said, you're looking at Dumb and Dumber. So who cares?
Well, I'm having trouble getting excited about it. And I'm really curious to see how it turns out vis-a-vis the debt ceiling. As you know, they've reached an agreement.
Here's the bottom line. Biden delivered on it. He delivered on it.
He delivered on it. But what's intriguing to me about it is all of the discussion thereof and this concept of taking credit. So as a citizen of the United States, it's really tedious waiting for these guys to meet at the OK Corral and shoot it out just to continue the affairs of state. It's absolutely fascinating.
It's disgusting to me. Fascinating is not my word. Disgusting to me, because you had no problem adding to the debt to give a tax rate to the less than 1%. Now all of a sudden we've got you know how I feel about them. I'm not even going to give them oxygen this morning. They're not worth it.
Well, what we've ended up with is McCarthy has actually proven to be somewhat reasonable. So this is actually a bit of a surprise. The whole thing actually makes.
I don't know. I'd call him reasonable, but
well, I'm comfortable with capping spending as a point of interest. I would also be comfortable with capping spending on defense spending.
I'm comfortable with that. Yes.
The only thing is that it appears that we're going to have to double down for a period of time because Russia is going to come unglued.
Yep.
That whole talk about the Balkans, that entire country is going to be broken up. And I don't know if you're aware of it, but did you see where the 5 provinces went to talk to China independently? They met with Xi independently. Yeah. And it appears that they're intent on actually putting in part of their road building and their railroad and
infrastructure
pipelines. Yep. They think they can make it all the way to Europe through those 5 provinces. So that is absolutely going to undo Russia in most.
It will.
And the other thing is, as the volume of oil that's being purchased from Russia drops, they are going to freeze in the infrastructure on their all their wells. So if it freezes in, the last time that happened, it took 30 years in some cases to bring them back online. Because it's
Yep.
in permafrost, it freezes, they get water in the pipes, the water cracks the pipes, the whole thing has to be
The
reconstituted.
whole thing has to be reconstituted. Yep. Yep. Hey,
At this juncture, it appears that defense spending is going to be important. It's going to be necessary to maintain.
it's always important, but the levels is what concerns me when there's so many other programs that,
Oh yeah, it just burns billions and billions. It's
yeah.
800 billion.
Here's one thing I'm excited and happy about, which is hard for me to
What you
find.
talking about?
It's hard for me to find anything to be happy about these days, but here's one. Based on my calculations, 38% of this country is going to be down to two places where they can spend money: Home Depot and Cracker Barrel, because they're boycotting every fucking thing else. And that gives me joy.
So what you're saying is that we should invest in Home Depot and Cracker Barrel?
Yeah, because those are going to be the only two places they have left.
They're gonna have to spend all their money there.
Yes. Now Target, I haven't peeled back the layers of the Los Angeles Dodgers, but here's what I know about the. Yeah, here's
How the Dodgers work into Home Depot and Cracker.
well, because the Dodgers, like the Mariners here, are
Okay.
having a Pride Night, and this group of sisters for Pride Night, and some of the Dodgers initially said, we're not going to go forward with that. And some of the players have now spoken out. They've got players speaking out in favor, players speaking out against.
In keeping
And
with
so,
yeah.
in keeping the tradition. And so we know 38% of this country no longer is a fan of the NFL because of Colin Kaepernick. We know
I don't buy that. I don't buy that. That is just spun up. I don't
see it every day. I see it every single day.
That the National Football League is now missing maggots. They're not tuning in. They're not going to.
Not all of them, but a good portion of
but
them. A good percentage of them.
I don't think so.
I see it and hear it every day. Every day. You can't tell me I'm not hearing and seeing what I'm seeing.
Yeah, but that's on Twitter, and you know how I feel about
no.
Twitter,
Not on
just an
Twitter.
endless series of anecdotes.
Not on Twitter. I'm talking about
self-selecting.
No.
Well, then how are you seeing it and hearing it every day? I haven't heard anything related to.
Through my social engagements with the networks I have, people that I know personally are no longer fans of the NFL because of Colin Kaepernick. So there's a.
Okay, let me catch up to you. So you're saying that MAGA is no longer a fan because Colin Kaepernick
took
in
a knee.
the NFL, or you're saying that progressive
Because he took a knee.
NFL because they didn't recognize and support Colin Kaepernick.
No. MAGA's because he took a knee.
Yeah, okay. I completely, absolutely.
I know people who are no longer fans of the NFL and will not watch because Colin Kaepernick took a knee.
All right, so let me tell you how valuable I know people is. I know you.
Let me finish.
Let me finish. Trump, and he is always like, well, people tell me, or I know people, or people say, and I'm giving you the same discount that I give to him. Knowing people who say stuff is absolutely immaterial.
No. Big difference. Trump hears things. So I don't know where the fuck he's hearing things from. I'm talking about actual
representation.
No, I'm not. No, I am not.
But it's not reflected in their numbers.
No, I am not. What I am telling you is that I'm having conversations with people. That's different than Trump. Where people are saying, no, I'm telling you about actual conversations where people have said to me, I no longer support, follow, or watch the NFL because of Colin Kaepernick. And that number is large. Let me finish.
I'm trying to wrap my head around this. So you're saying that you're having conversations with maggots about their rejection of the NFL because of Colin Kaepernick?
Yes. and I don't
How are
want to
you
name,
having these conversations?
I'm not going to name names,
No,
but
I understand. No, nor should you. I agree.
and I've had this conversation multiple times. This is why I started my statement that I'm going to finish now.
Okay.
I know that there is a vast percentage of the 38% that no longer follow, watch, or support the NFL because of Colin Kaepernick. That is a fact.
Well, that's stupid as ass because
I
the
also
NFL waxed
know,
Colin Kaepernick.
I also know that same percentage doesn't watch, follow, or support the NBA because it is a predominantly black league.
Okay, that makes more sense to me.
It's hand in hand with the NFL. And so that leaves what? MLB. And now MAGAs are calling for boycotts because of all the pride nights that the MLB is doing. Seattle is having one coming up.
I would not go to a pride night.
And I want to say, and this might be bad for the
I
Mariners,
just
and
wish they'd give it up.
I don't want to speak out of turn because I don't know the exact date. It may be that. Let me rephrase. I hope it is this Saturday, which would be. Oh no! Wait. It might be the 10th. Anyway, the Mariners have a Pride fireworks night coming up, and I was hopeful that it wasn't on Juneteenth. Juneteenth is on a Tuesday, so it's not that. Thank goodness.
Yeah, don't mess stuff up.
But there are all of the teams in the Major Baseball League Association are doing Pride nights. This is what triggered the Dodgers issue, and so where are
They're
MAGAs
all
going to?
doing pride night?
Pretty much, yes.
Oh, wow.
So that's going to trigger MAGA to go, okay, if you're going to do Pride night, I'm not. So what?
Well, I can split the hairs with MAGA on this one because if it's Pride night, I'm not going to go that night. I would go the next night. I would go the night before. I would not stop going. I would not stop.
They don't stop going to Target because Target has.
Yeah, I would not stop going to Target.
But they are. They're calling for
I
that.
have gone to Cracker Barrel and I have gone to Home Depot. In other words, I don't give a shit about it. Oh, there's another one. There's who makes the black beans? There's a famous Spanish
Goya.
Goya. Everybody's like the guy who runs Goya is a big Trump supporter. I'm like, in other words, they've got decent products, so that continues. We've never boycotted anything.
My original statement stands. At this rate, MAGA's going to have two places to spend money: Home Depot and Cracker Barrel.
Cracker Barrel.
And they're going to be watching fucking bowling or something on TV because they're not going to they're not going to watch the NFL.
Probably. Well,
They're not going to watch.
Cracker Barrel.
They're not going to watch the NBA. They're not going to watch the NFL. They're not going to watch the NBA. And there's going to be a growing voice to boycott MLB behind Pride nights.
I guess I'm just not saying it, but we've already agreed that I'm not really in.
You've got a blind spot there, because I'm telling you.
I got a blind spot.
I'm telling you. I'm telling you what I'm seeing and hearing. And the Dodgers issue is at the core of it.
No, the Dodgers issue is at the core of, in other words, they've kind of chosen the Dodgers as the poster child for Pride Night.
Yeah, for whatever the sisters, they're releasing statements, and I'm like, this is an onion that I don't peel back the layers on because I don't give a shit. And here's why I don't give a shit. Whether you're gay, pride, LGBTQ, I don't care.
They're going to stop doing it.
You're a human being, and human beings deserve human rights. And that is, once we get beyond that, and you want to have an argument, debate, I shut you off.
All right, let me give you an example. Do you think that Los Angeles Dodgers should have an old, white, conservative night?
No.
Okay, so because it's of no interest and it doesn't matter, and old, white, conservative dudes go anyway. In other words, I think people should just be free to come and go as they please. And I don't think that this ESG...
You are free to come and go as you please.
Yes. But I don't think you need to have a night around it. So I'm kind of in the middle on this. It doesn't make sense to me. Maybe.
When you're a marginalized group, we only having a night for like this because you're a marginalized group. Old white men aren't marginalized.
I wouldn't know they were marginalized if they didn't tell me. That's actually, you can
That's a
unpack that
blind,
statement.
that's
You
a
can unpack
blind
that
spot.
statement. That's an old white guy statement.
That's a blind spot.
Okay, so let's talk about the concept of a blind spot as it relates to people who are trying to coexist in society.
Okay.
All right. So I believe I've articulated this before, so I'll try to do it again. And I do believe that there is a cliche, which is my reach stops at my neighbor's nose. In other words, you should not be materially interfering with other people's lives. I'm very comfortable with that.
Okay.
If somebody says, I am every special interest group on the surface of the planet, I would not let that affect their application to buy a home or to enter a school.
Unfortunately, that's not reality, but go
Okay,
ahead.
this is what I'm talking about. I'm talking about my perception of all of this. But if I received a flyer that said, I would like for you to attend my every interest group on the surface of the planet night, I would probably be like, well, I can't think of a compelling reason to go unless I know somebody there who is a friend. But I don't understand how things get graduated from a legitimate concern, which is don't tread on me, don't abrogate my rights, don't withdraw opportunities from me. Those are all completely reasonable positions and they're defensible. And if somebody is like, I'm going to take away your rights, or I'm going to make your vote 2/3 or 3/5 rather of my vote, then just crawl all over me and take me out because I have my head up my ass. That is not right. But if somebody's like, we're going to be marketing this special interest group, I don't make that transition. In other words, I don't understand how the marketing contributes materially to the underlying philosophy of treating all human beings with dignity and respect. I can't make that leap of faith between we're having a pride night and you should care. And it's like, okay, I don't care. It doesn't.
You don't have, let me be clear. You don't have to care.
Okay.
We're having the Pride Night because they are marginalized in many facets, in many ways. So if you weren't marginalized and you had broad support, we wouldn't need a night.
You did this to me the other day. You made a lot of sense.
Well, that's a rare.
Problematic. Remember, because I was like, I think we should ignore ignore people.
In a rare move, you know,
Yeah,
every now and
you're
then.
talking about on social media. You said, so if you ignore and don't push back, then the people in the middle who are trying to formulate an opinion or trying to see which way the wind is blowing, they don't get any feedback from both sides.
Right.
So
right.
are you applying the same logic here? You're saying that if you're an interest group, like somebody who has been substantially disadvantaged by the patterns that already exist in society, then you're obligated to.
No, I'm not saying you're obligated. What I'm saying
find a
is,
place.
what I'm saying is, we've had rallies and
I'm trying to catch
marches.
up.
We've had rallies and marches for women. We've had rallies and marches for gays. We've had rallies and marches for the trans community. We have those.
Okay, I like that. A rally and a march, though, to me, is not the same as Pride Night at a
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. It's all a show of support. It is all a voice for those who do not have a voice. It is all an effort to provide them a seat at the table that they currently do not have. And it's just one tool in the toolkit to bring awareness, to bring education, to remind people we're all fucking human beings, regardless of what interest group you belong to. We have to do those.
I can't argue that. I can't argue that. All I want now is I want one night to recognize
Old white man.
all the suffering that we're going through. So what would we call that night?
I don't know.
Velveeta night?
Isn't that 4th of July? I don't know.
Ah,
Isn't it Independence Day?
You got
I don't know. I saw a tweet today from Ice-T this morning.
oh no, is it iced tea or iced tea?
Ice Cube, Ice-T.
Oh, okay.
He's the one on the, again, former rapper. He's the one on the Law and Order Special Victims Unit show that's
Okay.
been running forever.
Okay.
To name a
I'm
few.
gone, but I'll be back. Don't worry about it.
Uh-oh, he'll be back.
No,
in
keep
the
going with your iced tea situation.
I saw a tweet from him this morning that said, and I've got a paraphrase here, I think. Well, I could find it because I did respond to it.
Tweet, I'll paraphrase. I can't find it.
I'll have to do that because I just don't recall it off the top of my head, but I can come close enough.
All right.
He mentioned Father's Day is approaching. Get ready to get nothing. Laugh out loud.
Okay.
And
I
I
actually
said,
campaigned to receive nothing because I feel guilty because
well, I responded, laugh out loud. My gift is actually being a father. So I have zero.
I like that. I'm going to adopt that.
I have zero
I'm writing that down.
expectations because that's my gift.
That's
And
the way
I'm
I
not
felt
going
last
to,
night.
there's nothing you could give me greater than that. So I don't care, but I'm that, you know me, I'm that kind of individual. This is one of the funniest running jokes, for lack of a better description, in my household, because my better half is a birthday person. Not just hers, but everybody. But when we met 1,000 years ago, she celebrated her birthday the entire month of April. We don't do that anymore because we don't have the office environment that we did, and we don't have that sense that we did when I met her. I am the complete opposite of that. On my birthday, give me something good on the grill, a nice cold beer, and something to watch, and I'm happy.
Well, when it comes to birthdays and Father's Days, I am in complete agreement with you. And I would rather not be recognized because I feel so guilty because I get so much joy from everybody else. And
for Father's Day, I told you where I told you where I am on Father's Day. For birthday, I'm just grateful, happy to be on the right side of the dirt, and
Now, how did this relate to iced tea? Did iced tea?
Because he said, "Get prepared, dads out there to get nothing."
Ah, okay, that's what
on
it was.
Father's Day.
That you did tell me. So, all right.
And so I'm like, look, dude,
don't deserve nothing.
I'm a father. That you can't give me a better gift than that.
It's interesting. There are a lot of things that I think parents should be and should not expect any type of a reward or special.
Men and women are different.
That might be part of what's going on here is so much.
Men and women are different.
Well, but there's
and rightfully so. Mother's Day is very different than Father's Day, in my opinion. Because without mothers, you and I wouldn't be sitting here on this podcast right now. So they are at a different level to me than Father's Day. You need both, yes, but mothers are the backbone of our existence, in my opinion. Now, not everybody walks the same path, and I'm respectful of that. But I'm fine with the speciality of Mother's Day. For Father's Day, again, I'm just glad to be a father. I feel blessed to be a father. That I don't need a gift. That is the gift.
Well, one of the emerging things that really goes directly to this, I have two crisscross applesauce thoughts. The first one is the concept of Father's Day. I think it makes sense. It's a simple, straightforward recognition. 1 out of 365 days.
Yep.
Fill in the blank, Father Day.
Yep.
So I don't consider that to be a major issue. That's the kind of thing that you would expect to have happen after centuries of fathers and mothers.
Yep.
But the concept beyond just recognition is the one that I wanted to pursue. So is Father's Day recognition similar to Pride Day
No.
at the Dodgers?
No. No.
Well, why not? I mean, aren't you trying to actually reduce the tension around Pride Day with the Dodgers? In other words, part of what you're explaining to me is that it's not really that big a deal. And
No, it's
the
not.
day that it's kind of on a par with a Father's Day, that would be a good sign, right?
Cor-
In other
Correct.
words, so much of what we associate with a Father's Day or a Mother's Day is habit, it's familiarity, it's the simplicity. We all recognize that there are fathers and mothers, so there's a general level of recognition.
Yep.
So if you're having Pride Day one day out of the season at your stadium,
Right.
right?
Right. Right.
What you would hope for is eventually it would be a non-event. In other
Be
words,
like a Father's Day.
it'd be like a Father's Day or a Mother's Day. It would just be a recognition and an appreciation that there are differences among us.
Unfortunately,
More of a marketing effort because it's a corporation. Anytime a corporation is involved, it's hard for me to imagine that it's anything except somebody somewhere said there's more money to be made from this group.
well, careful now, because there's some corporations who speak up out and support because it's needed. Not because they're getting money behind it, they are, but they're speaking up, speaking out because of the marginalization of that group.
Okay, but you can see what I'm attempting to do is I'm trying to survive and coexist with things like Pride Day.
Right.
And I'm already on record. I'm like, well, I probably wouldn't go that night. Well, maybe I would. I don't know. But the point is that I can wish that these things become less hot button issues and
Unfortunately,
become familiar.
unfortunately, because of the racist segment of the population of this country, we're a long way away from that.
All right, but I want to spend some more time on this. So if I were to ask somebody to treat me a certain way, it would revolve around not aggressively pursuing a campaign to deny me my rights or to keep me from walking to that spot,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yep.
And the part that I'm starting to I'm trying to understand is that generally I've been allowed to do that, so I haven't had to comment about it.
Right.
It,
You're privileged to be able to do that and don't know or have history of being denied that basic right.
yeah. So
When you're denied that basic right, you have to come up with efforts to gain that basic right, hence Pride Night. Now, back to my comment about, unfortunately, there's a racist segment of this country and population that keeps pushing us further from that. I'll give you two examples. You know, as well as I do, that there is, I'll use 38% for lack of a better number, who do not acknowledge Juneteenth because they don't accept the history that we all know existed, and they do not acknowledge MLK Day, which is now a federal holiday, but not acknowledged widely as a federal holiday.
when you say acknowledge, what do you mean? If it's a federal holiday, you're by definition it's acknowledged, right?
No,
No.
No. Most organizations, corporations that I know, okay, we accept that it's a holiday, but you don't get the day off unless you take a PTO day to have that day off.
You know, that would be another. I've got so many blind spots. That would be yet another, because I've been self-employed for 30, 40 years, and
And I can speak from
I
experience
just
on
work
this.
12 hours a day, 7 days a week, so I never take any time
I
off.
can speak from experience on this because I knew that I had to take a, because annually, even if we don't do anything, I would always try and take a PTO day on MLK Day so I could have time with my son. Even if we don't do anything, let's just get together. Let's honor the day. I've said repeatedly throughout my son's entire life that even when it became federal law, I don't care who gives the day off and who doesn't. It doesn't matter to me. What matters to me in respect and honor of that day is that Marlon Taylor is the best version of Marlon Taylor that he can be on that day. I try and do that every day, but to honor Dr. King's memory and his holiday on that day specifically, I try and be the best version of Marlon that I can be, whether I have the day off or not.
So it's like Lent.
Yes. Yes.
I won't abuse anybody on Twitter.
And then Juneteenth, forget about that.
So,
Which is coming up, which is now, and let me tell you who loves Juneteenth. My sister, because it is also her birthday. So
there you
she
go.
has a federal holiday on her birthday now.
So I'm trying to think when I've been prejudiced. And
We
here's a
all are
question.
to
Let me ask you a question.
we all are to some degree. And
Right.
anyone who says I'm not prejudiced, yeah. I
Okay.
tell you what we do. Let's put a camera in your car and let's have you drive around your freeway in your area and then find out how prejudiced you aren't. Because we're all prejudiced, especially on the highway.
Okay, so we're mutually agreed that prejudice is with us all. But prejudice is a state and discrimination is a verb.
Yes. Yes.
Prejudice and discrimination are different.
Yes.
So
Yes.
you
We
could be
all
prejudiced.
have prejudices, but we all don't discriminate. Or we all
Okay,
did I say that right?
that's actually pretty valuable. Yeah, because that's the question I wanted to ask. We're mutually agreed that everybody has prejudice, and prejudice could manifest
In a
in an
myriad of
extreme
different
case.
ways.
In an
Yeah.
extreme case where a person says, I feel so strongly about this that I'm going to actually materially affect the arc of your existence. That
Yes. Yes.
would be discrimination.
Yes. I'm going to go into Target and pull all of your Pride material off the shelf. Yes.
Prejudice might be I favor people who are that I favor white people. Let's just say that's it. So what does favor mean? It would be like I'd probably marry a white woman. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's more preference, but okay. I can make that connection.
No, but the point I'm making is I wouldn't actively seek a partner
Outside of your race.
outside of my race. Now, I didn't just say that if I had met a person who was outside my race and fallen in love with them, that I wouldn't have.
Right.
Right, I would
You
have.
have a preference. I've been
Yeah, but I
accused
have
of
a pattern
having
of behavior. So it's a
I've been
prejudice.
accused all my adult life of having a preference. And I've had to fight this battle on the front line. It's not that I don't date black women or like black women. It just so happens that I've been in relationships with white women, and I own that. I accept that. However, someone views or feels about that, that's on them.
So prejudice and discrimination are different. And what I'm trying to understand when and where I've discriminated. So let me give you an example. If I'm like, oh, it's Pride Night tonight at Dodger Stadium, I don't think I'll go. but then I go the next night. That's prejudice, but I don't think that's discrimination. Because a lot of things are where other people want you to take the same level of interest that they have in their own affairs. And I don't think it's discrimination to have less interest in somebody else's identity than they do. It would be discrimination to say, now that you have shared your identity with me, I'm going to change
how I treat you.
well, how I treat you. Although I just said I probably would not go to a Pride night.
I don't have those on.
By the same token, I wouldn't go to a MAGA night.
Right.
And I wouldn't go to a
Trump rally.
I wouldn't go to, I mean, it's why I stopped going to football games, because people would get drunk. So for the same reason, I wouldn't go to a place where drunk people are congregating and standing up in front of me and throwing beer from behind. But is that discrimination if you're not as interested in another group's identity as they are? So to me, part of the disconnect is when people, and I'm going to give you an analogy.
Okay.
I think part of the disconnect on all of this ESG, environmental, social, governmental activism on the part of corporations, is when there's some type of perception that we're supposed to take the same level of interest in somebody else's identity as they do. And I think that's where some of the pushback comes from, I think. So the mere existence of it, in my estimation, should not create pushback. There's a point at which some of these things create pushback. And I think that's why there's so much trouble in the schools with gender. Like this pronouns, he, she, me. That would be, to me, that would be a level of effort to get other people who are not associated with your group to take the same level of interest as your group.
That's where I have to correct you. It's not the same
You
level.
can correct me, but what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to actually coexist with all of this stuff, recognizing that I have some level of prejudice, but also recognizing that I don't want to discriminate. I don't want to be a discriminator.
It's the goal isn't for people outside special interest groups to take a level of interest. It's to create an environment where they have the same level of respect. It's not.
What if that already exists?
It doesn't exist.
And the level of respect goes down.
It doesn't exist. That's why we have what we have. That's why we have
for a lot of people. Okay, so this is intriguing to me.
That's why we have pride.
I'm going to make my analogy now. I have said on this podcast before that I think a lot of gun owners are insulted because the majority of gun owners would never shoot another human being. They just wouldn't do it. So the idea of being like, if you're a gun owner, you're a bad person. I think that's where a lot of this resentment and reaction comes from. So if we go to this concept of somebody can be prejudiced, but they don't want to discriminate. And
this is a bad analogy. This is a bad analogy.
I'm not going to, even if I
don't view
group, I'm not going to discriminate against.
I don't view, and the progressive far left does not view people who own guns as bad. But what we are saying,
hold on. When it's elevated to a marketing type of activity, or if political rhetoric is in play, it is treated as a moral issue. And I think sometimes, like this pride thing, it's like if you don't identify with this pride night, or if you don't fully support it, it's a moral issue. And
no, this is different. This is why I'm saying this is a bad analogy.
That's my perception. I think people feel like they're being morally judged.
I get that, and I'm
prejudiced, but they don't discriminate, and it's discrimination where you would be morally judged, not on.
I get what you're saying, but this is a bad analogy, and I know that's your perception, but it's a bad analogy. Here's why.
That was good, though. This last one was good.
No, the analogy you just gave was a horrible one. Here's why.
Oh,
Gay people don't kill people. Guns kill people. Gay people, there might
gay
be some
people don't kill people?
there might be some gay people out there.
That's really good. Gay
But-
people don't kill
but-
people. Guns kill people.
But
Pretty good.
but men are not walking into schools with a gay person killing people. They're walking into a school with guns killing people, not with gay people. That's a bad analogy.
That wasn't my analogy. No.
But what I'm saying is you just said the gun issue and Pride Night, you were okay.
No, I'm saying that people can be prejudiced, and I think we should accept that, but you shouldn't accept discrimination.
Correct.
And discrimination would be active abrogation of rights and privileges for a
Right.
group of human beings.
Which is what's
But
happening.
the point that at the point where it becomes a marketing effort, and the implication is that if you are prejudiced, that it's immoral, I think you actually generate more pushback. In other words, people who were not paying attention before feel like they're being judged, and they're like, "Fuck you." I think
You're
that's a
not
lot of
being
what's happening.
judged. What we're trying to do is educate so you don't have a blind spot because you're in your cocoon and bubble and unaware that there's a group of people that are being marginalized and stripped of their rights.
Okay, so I think you could reach a lot of old white people. I think you could reach a lot more people by saying, remember when it was like Black Lives Matter, and then the pushback was All Lives Matter, and then Blue Lives Matter.
Right.
All right, so there's actually a school of thought here that in a perfect world, almost every response to every situation would be a universal response. What's good for any human being who is living, eating, breathing, sleeping, drinking, trying to make a living, what's good for a human being is what we should be striving for.
Yes.
Now,
But we don't live in that world.
we don't live in that world, but I think that would be the kind of concept that people who, even if they're prejudiced, they can accept that they shouldn't be discriminating. And I think when you say to somebody, because
That's a
you're
reach.
prejudiced, in advance of discriminating, because you're part of this group, like you're not part of the gay group, so you're part of this group, so you're immoral because our group has been set aside and disadvantaged. I think a lot of people are like, I would not choose to be part of your group, but I'm not actively campaigning against you or abrogating your rights and privileges. So just because I have some prejudice and I wouldn't pick to, I
But
don't,
if you're not
I don't identify with that group.
if you're not supporting that group getting equal
Why do I have
rights,
to support it? I just need to stop hurting it. I think they're two fundamentally different things. A group that's requesting support, to me, I'm like, yeah, whatever. But a
when
group
you
that
d-
says, listen, don't tread on me, which was how
when you don't
our nation got started. They're like, don't tread on me.
when you don't support that they should have equal right under
I
the
do.
law.
I do, but that's
But they
different than
don't.
getting some type of a level of energy associated with their identity that
You
is
say you do,
satisfactory
you-
and crosses some moral threshold.
You say you do, but how do you support that group having equal rights under the law?
I don't discriminate. It's what I don't do that is the important thing,
But they're still marginalized.
but not by me. And I think a lot of people,
Therein lies the crux right there. Not by me, but a vast percentage of people like you do. So that is why these things exist. You personally might not do it, but we've got a vast range of percentage of the population that does. We've got elected officials
so you're saying that
who are trying
I'm
who are
sorry,
trying to rewrite history.
Yes.
and eliminate the fact that certain groups, people, ethnicities even existed. So you might not be doing that, but there's a concentrated effort to undermine it. And if you don't stand up in support of that group, then we then assume you're part of that effort.
That's actually a really good sentence. If you don't stand up and identify with and support this group, then we assume that you are an immoral individual.
For
The messaging
since
is a challenge. In other words, the messaging is a challenge.
yes,
I'm not
and
saying
since 2020, since the George Floyd incident specifically, I've heard
right. And
white people
white people,
say it is no longer enough to say I'm not racist. That is no longer good enough. You have to be anti-racist, and that means
I'm okay with being anti-racist.
okay. That means you've got to show support and provide a voice to people who are marginalized. Which
I marched into. I went down to DC and I was in some of the women in the Black Lives Matters marches.
Yes.
So that level of support makes perfect sense to me, and it falls into the "don't tread on me" category.
Not sure I make that connection, but go ahead.
Okay, so if I'm walking with that group, at the end of the day, when I come home, I'm not black, I'm still white.
Yes.
So I think it's a legitimate request that all human beings should be afforded the same rights and privileges.
Yes, but that's not happening.
So what you're saying is that in the same sense that a corporation or any individual, like an actor who runs into something goes wrong, they would get a PR team. So you're saying this is a natural reaction of people who have been disadvantaged to just have PR in a deliberate attempt to elevate their profile,
educate. And demand equal treatment under the law.
All right, so here's my question to you. Let's say that I was going to go to the baseball game on Pride Night.
Pride Night, right?
And I see something and it says, tonight is Pride Night. And I'm like, I don't think I'll go tonight. What is that? Is that discrimination? Is it prejudice?
No. I would probably put that under the heading of prejudice.
Prejudice?
But not discriminatory.
Okay, so what you would
discriminatory would be how you treated a gay person who called you up and said, "Hey, JD, come to the game with me."
I'd be like, I'm busy.
Right.
Unless it's a friend of mine. It's immaterial unless it was a friend of mine, and I would identify with that person as a friend, unrelated to everything else,
unrelated to whatever label they have.
So if we're back in the conference room, everybody's had a donut and they're drinking coffee and they're deliberating whether they should move forward with Pride Night at Dodger Stadium.
Right.
Okay, so that's where we are now. And I'm in that group and I would be like, well, okay, but I assume that what you are anticipating is that if you had a pie chart, that a larger percentage of the pie chart of attendees that night will be the LGBTQ community.
Yeah.
And I would say your numbers in aggregate probably won't go up because some normal white people are going to be like, I'd rather not. And that would be okay to me.
That to me,
why would a white person have to go to Pride Night?
They don't have to go.
An moral individual who is supporting.
They don't have to go. They can elect not to go for the very reason that you just stated. I don't want to go because it's Pride Night. There are also a percentage of white people who would say, I'm going to Pride Night.
I'm going to support it.
Yes.
So they're self-identified. But the question I was posing to you is if I'm like, well, I don't really want to go because I don't want to see men with makeup on. Like, that would not be a first choice. I would not willfully go to an event where I was in a sea of men with makeup on.
Wouldn't
That
matter to
just
me.
doesn't interest me.
It wouldn't matter to me. It's the same thing about the bathroom issue. And who is
Okay,
it?
the
Liam,
bathrooms issue. Let's do that one. That's a third
who
rail.
is it? Liam Neeson, I think it was. I can't remember which actor it was who said, and I fully endorse what he said. I, I don't,
What'd you endorse?
I don't, I don't
Dude, we
care.
just hit an hour.
I don't care who's in the fucking bathroom. Because when I'm in the bathroom, guess what Marlon's focused on? Going to the bathroom. I don't give a shit who's in there. Because I'm not going around the stalls and checking, are you a guy? Are you a woman? I don't care. I'm in there.
I'm already on record about this.
I'm in there to relieve myself and I'm the hell out of there. I don't care who's in there. By the way, I've, full disclosure, I'm a little different. We've all acknowledged that.
A little different. Are you?
I remember a party I went to. This reminds me of a funny story. I remember a party I went to when I worked for MathBox Inc. in Chantilly, Virginia.
All right, name another corporation.
We all threw a party. It was during the summer, and it was at somebody's house, a cookout and barbecue, and everybody came. We're having a great time. And I caused a stir because the person that I was dating at that time went to the bathroom, and I kind of went with her. And we didn't do anything. We were just
I cannot see how that relates to this conversation.
because you have a male and a female in the bathroom at the same
Totally
time.
separate. That's how gender is supposed to be. You're supposed to be together. So I don't understand. How does that relate? Where are you going with
It
this?
caused a stir. They're like, why is Marlon?
Who cares? I thought we were talking
That's
about
the same position that I have related to what we initially started to talk about gender in the bathroom. Who gives a rat's ass?
oh my God, who gives a rat's ass? Well, you know what? A lot of people give a rat's ass.
Clearly. And why? Why? Who cares?
Because of what I was discussing before, which is the point at which somebody is like, I want you to care as much about my identity as I do. And it's like, let me finish my thought. I care about you as a human being. I think you should.
No, it's not about that. It's
yes,
about,
you're saying, okay,
it's it's about having basic rights.
Yeah, you have basic rights, and you're basic.
Look, if I'm gay, I don't give a shit if you don't care. All I care about is
that would be wonderful if that were the case.
All I care about is that I can go into the restroom of my choice and use the bathroom, but I can't.
Why the fuck would you get to go into the restroom of your choice? That choice was made for you.
Not if I'm a trans.
Okay, I like this. This is good. I agree that if you go from one sex to another, right?
Right.
That you should be allowed to go into the bathroom associated with the sex that you now are.
Yes.
I am comfortable with that.
But we're not comfortable with it when it relates to sports because of the
What do you mean? Oh, yeah, sports is totally different. Totally different.
Not to me, but okay.
Well, how can you, all right, so here's the drill. If somebody came to me and they said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to have a sex change operation so that I can look at girls in the bathroom. I'd be like,
that's an outlier. That's an outlier. That's an outlier.
No, but the point is,
I can look at girls in the bathroom.
If you are in fact now a woman, then you should be able to go into the woman's bathroom.
To the point of my story, I can look at girls in the bathroom without doing a sex change.
That's the point. Well, yeah, you're making my point for me, which is I'm not going to track all the way down where somebody has actually made the commitment to change their sex and accuse them of not being what they went through surgery to become. That is just absolutely rude if somebody has done that in their personal life. However,
Even if they haven't, they now identify as a female. I don't care what
yeah, and they
bathroom.
can continue their life as a female.
I don't care what bathroom.
I'm okay with that. But let's go back to the competition in athletics. There is absolutely no correlation, none whatsoever.
With bathrooms?
Yeah, there's no correlation because, I mean, whether you're a male or a female, you're only competing with the commode, and that is universally the same for everybody. If you're talking about competing in athletics, men who are born males are going to have more mass, more strength, and they are typically going to be physically larger.
Not some of
And
the
it
gay men
doesn't
I know.
matter if you have a sex change operation.
Not some of the gay men I know, man. Not some of the gay men I know. I know women have more mass, strength, and kahunas than some of the gay men you were talking
Type of
about.
argument. What is that type of argument? I haven't become yet at picking up. That's actual type of argument. I don't think it's.
I don't know which type it is. I just know it's
I
true.
think it's a red herring. I've known
In
some.
other words, I know women that have more mass, strength, and
Yeah, but that is
masculinity
the exception to the rule.
and masculinity than Andy Cohen on entertainment
That's the
television.
exception to the rule. Most of
Or
well
what's my other one? What's my other one? I know women who have more masculinity than Don Lemon and who's my other dude on CNN? Anderson Cooper.
what the, I don't even know. I don't even know what you're doing anymore.
I know women who are more masculine than those guys.
Yeah, but that has nothing to do with the challenge that we're facing as a society around men competing as women. That is a legitimate conundrum. That is actually something that is hard to solve.
It is, but if a man identifies as a female and he has lived his life as a
Okay,
female,
identifies as a female is different than had surgery and become a female.
yes, it is.
If you've made that commitment to become a female, I respect it.
Even without the surgery, again, Andy Cohen, Anderson Cooper, Don Lemon. I know these are outliers, but I know women who are more masculine than those three.
Why in the hell can't I pick out? Okay, hasty generalization, making a general conclusion based on a small sample size. There we go.
Okay.
Now, I'm talking about they've mathematically figured out that over the course of humanity, approximately 100 billion souls have traversed this mortal coil. That's a lot of people. So we currently have about 8 billion, but
Right.
over all of time, about 100 billion have come and gone. About half were men and half were women. And you're talking about a sample size that
I know, but it's a sample size.
literally like pi. You can't calculate it.
It's a
too small.
sample size. I'm sure there's a 13-year-old boy somewhere in America who is grown up a female.
I'm sure there is one. I'm talking about patterns. I'm talking about populations. I'm talking about 330 million people, half of whom are male, half of whom are female. As a rule, if you take a man and you put him in competition with a woman, the man will win the competition. That is just the way it's been since time immemorial. In fact, almost everything about male-female relationships is predicated on the ability of the male to physically dominate the female.
Did Bobby Riggs beat Billie Jean King?
Making a general conclusion based on a small sample size. I'm sticking with that one. Fucking immaterial.
I asked a simple question. Did
That's
Bobby
fucking
Riggs,
immaterial. Let me tell you why it's
Did-
fucking immaterial,
did
because
Bobby
Bobby Riggs was like,
Riggs-
what, 60 or 70?
he's a male. Did he?
Yeah, but
beat
he's
Billie-
not a young male.
He's
We
a
all know that you
male.
can only play in the NFL for about 4 years.
He's
That's-
a male.
Young.
Simple question. Did he beat Billie Jean King? No.
I don't remember. Isn't that stupid?
I remember.
Did
And
Bobby,
here's one I remember from personal experience.
did
where
Bobby
I
beat
used to
Billie
I
Jean
used
King?
to-
I don't remember. You'd
I
think I
used
would remember that.
I used to have that Neanderthalithic thought about men versus women. And
What's Neanderthal about the way things are? That's not Neanderthalic. There's nothing Neanderthalic about it.
yeah, it is.
If I come out and I say men are generally stronger than women,
I had
that
that.
is
I
a
had
true
that.
statement. That's
I
not
had-
Neanderthalic.
I had that same Neanderthalic thought when I was young and out at Maryland University. For whatever reason she was there, I came across in a pickup game Cheryl Miller, Reggie Miller's little sister,
Okay.
and played
She's a
her
better ball
one-on-
player than you.
She lit my ass up.
That's right.
And I'm a
However,
man.
you were able to block her
I'm
out
100%.
consistently, and if you had raced against her, you would have beat her.
No, I wouldn't have.
That's just because you were slow. Okay. Who I'm going to ask, who won the match?
We already know it's Billie Jean King.
We do know that?
She won that match, if my memory serves me correctly.
I don't recall.
Battle of the Sexes. I remember that.
I don't recall.
We'll table for now.
Billie Jean King won the match against Bobby Riggs in straight sets. And the reason you remember it
Ding,
is
ding, ding.
because it's a general conclusion based on a small sample size. It is an unusual event. It is
a
the exception
male.
that proved the rule.
It is a male competing against a female. I don't care about the sample size. It's a male competing against a female.
It doesn't hold any water compared to an 18-year-old male who has just started some type of whatever it is they do, and a standard female. So to me, this is open shut case.
No. No.
I'm not trying to change your mind.
No, you
I'm saying
can't.
To me,
You can't.
Motherfuck, look at this.
Are you telling me?
Okay, hold on.
Are you telling me?
Hold on.
Are
Hold
you
on.
Are
Hold
you
on.
Are you telling me that for the last decade to current day, we haven't had female soldiers who are more capable?
Nothing to do with it. There are so few female SEALs, female Rangers.
Do we have them?
They don't have the strength. Hold on.
Do we have them? Have we had women in?
Bull. I have 100 billion.
Have we
That
had?
is such fucking
Have
horseshit.
we had women? I'm asking you very simple questions that
Yes,
you are.
but it's the exception that proves the rule. Now,
No, it is not. No, it
let
is
me
not.
know when you're done, because I want to
It
ask.
is not the except. It is not the exception to the rule. It's a very simple question. Have we had females in combat? The answer to that question is yes. And in answering that question, yes, that would indicate that we've had females who have outperformed males and have been
Just
able.
because they're in combat doesn't mean they're outperforming them. It means that they're reaching a rung of performance that allows them to participate.
And that other males can't.
And in fact, women are not generally going to the front. Now, I'm waiting for you to just hold on, because I want to make a point and I want you to hear it.
All right, go ahead.
How old was Bobby Riggs?
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Okay, it doesn't matter, but I'm going to tell you anyway. He was 55 years old.
Good for him.
How old was Billie Jean King?
Doesn't matter.
29 years old.
Doesn't matter.
So you're telling me.
He's a male.
You're telling me that
he's an alpha
Tom
male.
Brady should just keep playing because it doesn't matter.
That's different.
You're telling me
that's different.
That Ezekiel Elliott should still be making $15 million a year because it doesn't matter.
Different. It's a male versus a female.
She was 29 years old. She was
Doesn't
in
matter.
the prime of her life.
Doesn't
and I don't
matter.
mean the prime a la Kamala
If
Harris.
Billie Jean King was a 29-year-old male, yeah, that would be significant. She's a woman.
She's 29 years old. He was 55.
She's a woman.
Jesus H. McChrist. Why did I fall into that trap? We are
She's
at
a
an hour.
woman. She's
You
a
know what?
woman.
You are generally rational, and I think you're overdoing it on this.
All right.
I'm not trying to change your
I'm
mind.
keeping it.
I'm just saying that I
I'm
consider it meaningful that
I'm
she was in
keeping
the
it-
prime of her career and he was in his 50s.
I'm keeping it very
I
simplistic.
consider that meaningful.
I'm keeping it very simplistic. He was a male. He played a
what?
woman, and he lost.
I'm going to agree with you. You are keeping it very simplistic. And as a consequence, you're not materially contributing to the obvious. In other words, you're avoiding the obvious to make a simple point, which is men and women over the course of the last 5,000 years have had contests. And in some cases, a few women have been ascendant in those contests.
More than a few. More than a few. More than a few.
Establish that that's what you're going to stick with. But again, I'm not trying to change your mind. I'm just telling you, I don't agree. And I very strongly.
Are there women serving in the current United States Armed Forces?
It's fucking immaterial when it comes to arm wrestling or weightlifting or running. It doesn't matter, because the woman who's serving with that group, every man in that group can beat her in arm wrestling. Every man in that group can
All right,
outrun her.
I can't have this conversation. I can't have this conversation.
You know what?
I can't do it.
You know what?
I can't do it, man.
You know what? My job here is done.
I can't do it, man.
I want to make a simple
can't do it.
point. I want it to apply to
You're missing a very simplistic,
Doesn't apply.
again, fact.
Pardon me?
That woman is in the unit, and
She
there's
is in the unit, but it doesn't make her stronger, faster than the men she's in the unit with. It is a complete non sequitur.
it makes her stronger, faster than some of the other men who probably tried out to be in that unit.
You know what? You just made an excellent point. You just made an excellent point. When people are competing in sports, they are self-selecting. They're saying, I am going to devote my time and energy to pick a sport, biking,
Right.
running,
Right.
swimming.
Right.
I am going to devote my time and energy. I am going to become good enough in this sport to actually ascend to a podium.
Okay.
And I am going to compete in my weight group. If you're a man and you're in boxing, you're in a weight group. If you're wrestling, you're in a weight group.
Yeah.
If you're in Ultimate Fighter, you're in a weight group. So
Yeah.
even within groups of men, they have to be delineated by weight group.
Okay.
So what you're saying is that these people devote their time, their energy, and big chunks of their life to getting to the podium by competing with other people in their weight group and who are the same sex. And then a man can come in, and it's not one of these degenerate, flabby men. It's a man who has also been training at the same level,
Okay.
who weighs more, and is a male. And they take their spot on that podium. And you have no issues with that whatsoever. That's a yes or no. I'm comfortable with it.
I'm trying to follow what you just said. That
I
spot on.
just said that there is delineation within men based on weight group, because a bigger, stronger, more person with more mass will be more successful. And I'm saying that you are comfortable with the idea of a woman competing within her group, having a shot, having gone through all of her training, having gone through her entire career competing against other women. You're saying that you're comfortable that they don't get that spot on the podium among women because a guy who is training at the same level comes in. Because what you were representing earlier is you're like, there are women in that platoon and they're stronger than people who can't pass through boot camp, or people who are sitting on the couch. They're stronger
Who didn't make
I'm
it?
not gonna argue that. They're stronger than some men, but they're not stronger than men who are exerting at the same level, at the same sport. It is completely unfair. If you had an 8-year-old boy and an 8-year-old girl. Actually,
Right.
women
Right.
typically hold their own, but I'm going to go to 15. A
All right.
15-year-old male and a 15-year-old girl.
Okay.
And the male is in a fight with the girl, and neither of them is trained in martial arts. They're
Right.
just two people. They don't know how to fight. But
Right.
really pissed. The guy is going to win that fight.
You don't know that. You don't know that.
If
You don't know
100
that.
boys fight
You don't
against
know that.
100,
You don't know that.
I'm going to give you, you don't know that. If 100 boys fight against 100 girls, and they're just regular boys and girls, the majority of the winners will be male. That I do know.
No, you don't.
Okay,
There's some badass women out there.
Marlon,
Would you take
Marlon,
Anderson? Would you take?
we've agreed to disagree.
I could rope 100 women together. I could rope 100 women together at random right now. Would you take Anderson Cooper over?
Why are we talking about Anderson Cooper? I was trying to talk about the concept
Would you
that all
take
sports are
Anderson?
predicated on. In
Would you-
sports, you have the NFL, you have the XFL, you play in college, you play in high school. A high school team cannot beat an NFL team. They can't do it. It's
Right.
the same goddamn thing. A woman is going to have lower mass, less strength than a male. It's just a fact. And when I say a male, I don't mean any random male. I mean a male who is pursuing the same sport at the same level. Now, I'm not trying to change your mind. Why can't we just agree to disagree? I think you are coming to this with absolutely nothing. I'm not convinced. You certainly didn't convince me, which has happened frequently. I haven't.
Right.
So we should just basically park it because we're well over an hour now.
We're well over an hour. We're not going to agree on that. And I will summarize this conversation with this, because I've had this conversation inside my house. Because there is
I hope you did better than you did here.
There is, better in the sense of what I'm about to say.
Okay.
I know there are people like inside my house, like you, who have issues with cross genders participating in different sports. I get that.
Yes, I don't agree with it.
When I look at what's happening in today's world, that is so fucking far down on the priority list.
Jesus fucking Christ. It is, but the point is, it's still important to the people who are participating, and they're still changing lives.
So as a woman, that
it has
would
nothing
be,
to do that it's not as important
as a woman, yes,
or
it
climate
does.
change.
As a woman, it would be so far down my priority list.
It would be
Because
so far
there's
down
so
my priority list
many,
because I can't
there's
come
so
together a
many,
good argument. That's your
there
problem.
are so many other rights that are
That's
trying to,
irrespective. It's called third rails, plural. There are lots of third rails.
there are so many other priorities as a woman that they should be focused on other than
It's like you're
competing.
saying, I don't think you should be concerned with hair loss because
I
you
didn't-
could have had cancer.
That's not what I'm saying.
Like,
What
they're
I'm
two different
saying,
things. They're unrelated.
no, they're very related. They're all part of rights, and you need to prioritize
They're
what's
all part
more.
of what?
You need, as a woman, you need to
I'm talking about
prioritize.
this subject. Why can't we talk
As
about the
a-
subject?
As a woman, it is my opinion, you need to prioritize what is more important, swimming against a man or having reproductive rights, or
What
the right, or the
multiple concerns simultaneously.
or the right.
I
No,
assume.
they're not equal.
Okay,
They're not
so
equal.
you're telling me
They're
that
not equal.
agrees
They're
with
not equal.
you
They're not
are
equal.
completely
They're
isolated.
not. You can't
You
go
are
to jail. You can't go to jail.
You are
for-
floundering. You got nothing.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not. I
And
am
you're all
spot.
alone.
No, I am not. I am spot on. You cannot go to jail if you live in Idaho and go to Montana to compete in a swim meet against a male. You can go to jail if you live.
Issues. It doesn't matter. We're not talking about that third rail.
You keep cutting me off.
I do.
You
You're not gonna-
cannot go to jail if you live in Idaho and go to Montana to compete in a swim meet against a male. You can go to jail if you live in Idaho and you go to
Separate subject. It's a
Montana.
separate
No, they're
rail.
not. No, they are not. No, they are not.
All right, so I'm going to ask respectfully, my good friend, will you please take us out because we're going in circles.
I'm going to take us out because neither one of us are female and we've stepped outside of our lane here. We need to have women on who can weigh in on this.
Okay,
We need to have females on who can weigh in on this.
why don't you have, who was the absolutely, she's a relative of yours.
Oh, my cousin. There are many.
Yeah, let's have her on.
There are many people I could pull in on this,
Yeah, I'd like to have her on.
and I would respect their opinion. If they tell me, Marlon, look, no, okay, I respect
We
that.
need a woman then.
We'll get one. There's got to be one out there that would listen to me.
I can tell you that my significant other, she's like, oh, you're doing your podcast? I'm like, uh-huh. She's like, okay.
Well, I already told you, mine is opposed to that. My response to her is, look, you're getting rights stripped away at so many different
And
levels.
if I were her, I would go, I'd be like, fuck you. I'm talking to you about this issue. It's unrelated to the other issue.
It is not unrelated.
You're not going to make your argument by telling me that my priorities are missing.
Okay, well,
That
look,
is such a
okay, I tell
stupid
you what
argument.
then. I tell you what then. To
What?
those women, I say focus then on who the fuck is coming in your bathroom and who the fuck you swim meet against.
I am doing
when
that,
you-
and it's
when
separate
you-
from
no,
this.
It is. It's separate, but the
Yeah, but you
priorities
cannot
are out
win your
of whack.
argument by telling me that my
The
priorities
are
I shouldn't
out
be
of
concerned
whack.
about it.
The priorities are out of whack.
I can
You are
be
being-
concerned about
You
lots.
are being stripped of health care and your right to vote.
Big fucking deal. It's a separate
You
subject.
are being no, it is not. No, it is not. That is the problem. You are the exact fucking problem.
Why won't you take us out?
I'm taking us out. I'm taking us out.
Yeah,
I'm taking us
got
out,
the
man.
button. I
'Cause
can't press the button.
this conversation has just gone so far off the rails, man.
No, it hasn't. It's been a great conversation.
No, it's off the rails.
It has all of the elements.
Here. If I'm a female, here's
okay.
here's what's important to me. It's my body. It's my choice. I have a right to
No,
have.
not really. We can't discuss this because you should be more concerned
It's
about
my
these other things.
body. It's my choice. I have a
No, I
right.
agree with that. It is your
I
choice.
have a right to health care. I have
I
a
agree.
no, we're not. I have a right to health care. I have a right to marry whoever the fuck I want to marry. And all of those things are far more important than who my fucking daughter is going to swim against in the next swim meet. So
It's
I'm going to
really
take this.
important to the girl who has to compete against the guy. And I respect that. And it's,
If that girl
I
gets
can be
pregnant,
concerned about many issues.
if that girl gets pregnant, let's have her then focus on who she's swimming against.
You know what?
I'm gonna take this out.
This is one of the very few times where I'm so glad nobody watches us. Because that last statement it's non-serious. It's a non-serious statement.
How is it non-serious?
All right.
The reality.
Oh,
The reality.
No, let me go down the list.
The reality is her healthcare rights are being stripped away.
Complete agreement.
So how is that nonsensical?
I'm only making one point. The point is that there are a lot of issues that people are concerned about.
Yes.
The one where men are competing against women is totally separate than all the others. You can actually talk about different things. They aren't all interrelated. This is a very specific issue, and it's a fairly recent issue. All I'm saying.
Let's not forget how we started.
Concerned about multiple things simultaneously and have opinions on different things at the same time. And just
And all I'm
because I
saying
don't
is,
think that men should compete against women does not mean that I'm completely ignoring every other aspect of the existence of a female that she should be concerned about. That's not happening. It's just one of many subjects, and it's unrelated to the others. And you're saying that because I don't think men should compete against women, that it somehow colors the way I feel about women's reproductive rights. They're completely separate. There's
they're
absolutely
separate, but my
goddamn
point is the prioritization
That's
of
what I'm saying. And if you come to me and you say, you know, I really want to make my point, but the first and most important point that I think you need to consider is that I'm right because your order of precedence in terms of consideration is not reasonable. And I can't really talk to you about this because you should be concerned about all these other issues. And it's like, that's a
because they're far
non-starter. That
more
is a
important.
simplistic, nonsensical approach.
They're
And I
far
really resent
more,
that I can't find it in this type of
they're
logical fallacy.
they are far more important. Healthcare,
I'm not
right?
arguing that they aren't more important. They are more important, but they're separate.
Okay, they're separate, but
That's all I'm saying.
they're much more important.
That's what I'm saying. But you told me that when you talk to your significant other, that she was like, well, I don't think men should be competing against women. You're like, well, you should be more concerned about all these other factors. I'm saying that's a fucking bullshit approach, and it doesn't hold water. And
My
if
God.
you convince her,
my God.
now you know
my
why.
God.
Because what you
If-
said was
if
absolutely
what-
nonsensical.
What you just said to me is it can be used with exactly what you just said.
Okay.
Because you just said, yeah, they're far more important issues. You just agreed with that.
You're right. And you know what? Voting for our next politician is more important than mowing my lawn. But I still have opinions about mowing my lawn. And they are totally separate.
But it's so, mowing your lawn is so much further down that list.
I'm not arguing that. And I'm saying that for some people, it may be further down the list. For some people who don't vote, it might be more important. It's immaterial. The idea is that you can have multiple things simultaneously, and somebody coming in and saying, you're not understanding because your order of precedence doesn't allow you to deal with this issue because you have other more important things to consider. So there's really no point in discussing this, certainly not with you, because it should be low on your priority list. And if you're saying it's important, then there's something wrong with you. None of that works. It just doesn't work.
It's the reality.
It is a reality, but it has nothing to do with conversations about subjects, and the relative merit of them doesn't disallow somebody from formulating an opinion.
Oh my God. Okay. I'll go back to my analogy.
But
Fine.
I thought we were going to
Don't let, fine. Don't let the
I want the button to turn
15-year-old girl swim against a male. When that swim meet's over and she gets pregnant, and then you can't get whatever you need, health care, abortion, or whatever the fuck you want to get for her, you got to go to Montana. And then you start complaining that I can't get my treatment here in Idaho. You should have thought about that versus who the fuck you were swim meeting against. They're priorities.
You know what you just did?
What did I just did? Other than go well over,
I just fell off the end. You hit so many bumps. Bounced me right off.
We'll have a,
you know what?
We'll have female.
I got nothing.
We'll have female representation join up.
Because you bounced me right off the back. I got nothing. I'm not even interested in articulating my opinion anymore.
We'll have a female guest. We'll have a female guest join our podcast. We'll hear from the other side. We'll hear what they think. We'll hear what they believe. We'll hear what they prioritize. Just from my viewpoint, that's how I view it.
And I want to be there. I want to be there. When you say to somebody, you say, listen, you're thinking about this wrong.
No, I didn't say wrong. I didn't say wrong. I didn't say
That was your
wrong.
whole premise with your
No,
significant.
no, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. One is more important than the other.
Nobody argues that.
That's all I'm saying.
That's not all you're saying.
Yes, it is.
You're saying that because there are other issues that are more important, that somehow diminishes. Oh, great. God damn it. So,
All right. The gods have spoken. We are, woo, what a show.
oh, that was really good. The gods.
The gods have spoken. We will table this because we will hear more on
That's the
this.
5-hour mark. Nobody's
I know.
ever going to hear this.
Well, good. You'll hear more on this for those one or two that might remain to hear this discussion. Somebody may stick through this because this is a hot button. It's a third rail. It's a third rail. It's a hot button issue. We're up on our new homes. First World, Third Rails, YouTube channel, Spoutable, Twitter, soon to be Twitch, maybe one day, soon to be Facebook, if it's still out there, and sometime to come. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for tuning us out 30 minutes in. Thank you to the one person who's still at it 1 hour and a half in. Like us, comment on us, but most importantly, please, please, please subscribe to us.
All right, bud.
All right, partner. Great conversation. I'm going to go compete against a woman in a swim meet right now.
As you should.
Talk to you on the flip
If she's
side.
29
brother.
years old, you're going to lose.
I'm going to lose. Based on my age, I'll definitely lose.
There you go.
We'll see you on the flip side, brother.
All right, bud. Bye.
Bye-bye.